As a longtime fan of the Diablo franchise, I can't help but express my extreme disappointment with Diablo 4's lack of offline support. What were the developers at Blizzard thinking? I've now played every game in the series so far and remember spending hours upon hours exploring the dark and foreboding dungeons, battling hordes of monsters and collecting powerful loot. Diablo 2 was a massive hit with its huge online community that lasted many years after its release. Diablo 3 had its issues, but at least it had offline support, at least in the console version, which made it accessible to players no matter where they were. And if you've seen my latest review, you will know that I've just played through Diablo 1 so many years after its initial release. And just by the way, I own Diablo 3 on 3 platforms. I own it on PC, then I got it on my PlayStation 3 when I realized that that's offline and I can play it basically in split screen with my wife, and then I ended up buying it on a PlayStation 4 when the expansions came out and the new updates were no longer supporting the PlayStation 3. But again, it was yet again because the game supported offline. I could literally take my PlayStation and go somewhere on a holiday if I wanted to and play it with my wife. It's a great game and it's great for killing a few hours if you're just lazy at home. So you can imagine my surprise when I learned that Diablo 4 would not have offline support anywhere, meaning that players would need a stable internet connection just to play it. What's worse is that Blizzard hasn't given us any good reason for this decision. They've simply said that it is to protect the game from piracy and cheating, which seems like a flimsy excuse to me. Let's first talk about the cheating argument. Have you ever heard of an online game where people cheat? Yes, me too. That happens all the time. Not only does making a game online only not prevent cheating, I'd actually argue it motivates people to cheat more. Not to mention that cheating in an offline game doesn't matter since it's a victimless crime, right? Well, not if you're greedy Blizzard, because they will surely try to sell us some buffs and other stuff for real world money. Mark my words. So if you could simply go offline, activate Cheat Engine, and gain that experience buff or whatever it is for free, Blizzard will cry. Because after all, why should you be allowed to enjoy the full price game in its entirety without having to spend extra money on some of its content? Now let's talk about piracy. Yes, making the game online will affect piracy for sure, but why should the paying customer be crippled in order to prevent piracy? Imagine if everything in life was this way. How about if the state simply placed permanent handcuffs on everyone, claiming that this, while being an inconvenience, will definitely lower the amount of violent crimes because people can't commit those as easily when their hands are cuffed together all the time. So from that point on, the vast majority of law-abiding citizens would get to suffer so that a smaller group of criminals can be controlled more easily. Obviously, this argument is just as bad as the previous one. You don't punish people, including the good guys, in hopes that it will also upset the bad ones. Let's not forget that not everyone has a stable internet connection to begin with. There are plenty of people who live in areas with poor internet infrastructures or who simply can't afford a fast and reliable connection. For those people, playing Diablo 4 will be a frustrating and often unplayable experience. It's simply not fair that they should be left out of the Diablo community because of something as basic as internet. Secondly, playing online can introduce all sorts of issues, from lag to server issues that can make the game nearly unplayable or entirely so. Imagine trying to fight a boss only to have your attacks register several seconds after you've made them. It's happened to me in other games and it's a terrible feeling. Oh, and how about waiting in queue because the servers are overfilled? That's a great experience that everyone loves. Thirdly, playing an always online game means that we are at the mercy of Blizzard's servers. If those servers go down, which they inevitably will at some point, we won't be able to play the game we paid for. This is something that's already happened with other always online games and it is absolutely unacceptable. We should be able to play the game we paid for whenever the fuck we want, without having to rely on Blizzard's servers. Finally, it's clear that Blizzard is more concerned with protecting their game from piracy as well as preventing people from enabling buffs and other things for free rather than being able to shake the players down for their sweet cash. They're essentially saying that they do not trust us to play their game without being connected to their servers, which honestly is insulting. The vast majority of gamers are honest and just want to enjoy the games they buy. We should not be punished because of a few bad apples. In conclusion, Diablo 4's lack of offline support is a massive letdown and a major misstep by Blizzard. As a consumer, I expect to have full access to the game I paid for regardless of my internet connection or their misguided concerns about piracy. I should be allowed to play this game again in 20 years if I want to. Shame on you, Blizzard. You've let down your loyal fans, and I hope you reconsider your decision decision before the game's release. Lastly, think about your legacy. Once you end the service, Diablo 4 will cease to exist. Seriously, think about this. Why would you do that? It's probably a really good game. I hope it is. There is some time until release. And normally I'd call for a game boycott if they didn't change this. But let's face it, we all want to play Diablo 4 and we all will. They got us this time. So instead I will simply give them a chance to recover some of the respect they have been losing over the past several years. We are your customer. Listen to what we say and respect our wishes. You only stand to gain from this. Learn from your past mistakes. There is still time. With that having been said, I want to thank you, dear viewer, for watching Game Filter. I hope this rant has been informative. This is Nino, signing out.